everything last night, and we'll start up today. We got a little work in last week on Thursday on Florida. I think they're playing their best football. I think they have a really good roster. A lot of players we've recruited and recruited against them, but they're playing their best football, and obviously a talented group. Really a lot of great size across the front on the offensive and defensive lines. I think Billy knows that's where the key is in the SEC in terms of length and size. They play a lot of players on defense. They've got a lot of guys play up front. But their 3 losses have come to 3 teams that are ranked in the top 10. At least I think they are. I don't even know. But they're really good teams, and they played those teams well. So a lot of respect for Billy. He and I have worked together before. I think he's building a really good program down there, and he is a tremendous football coach. And he does not leave any box unchecked, I can assure you of that, and know a lot of their staff. So should be a great game in Jacksonville. It looks like it's going to be great weather. It's always a really tough, hard-fought game. I think it'll be one of the most physical games we play all year.
Yeah, Coach, have you seen Florida's offense evolve at all with Lagway now as the starting quarterback and full-time guy? And where have you seen him grow throughout the year as a true freshman?
First off, he's a tremendous talent. His arm talent and arm strength itself is elite. He has great size. He can make all the throws. He's got a couple, really wow throws. I think for his age and experience, he's ahead of his time in terms of his pocket movement management. A lot of freshmen abort the pocket and run out of it. And he does a good job stepping up through it. And he's made several plays where he trusted the pocket and steps up and makes really good throws. Threw the deep ball really well. Obviously, last game against Kentucky, it's not so much the change. Obviously, he has a running ability, but Graham was a good athlete too. So it's not a huge change between the two in terms of what they ask him to do. I think he's capable of making explosives, and they got the extra element in the quarterback run when they need it. They don't do it a ton, but when they need it, he can do it, and he's large. He's big. He's hard to tackle.
Hey, Coach, over here. Have y'all heard any word back in the SEC regarding any appeals before Dan Jackson just a year ago for the first half of the game?
Yeah, I'm not really focused on that today. I'm not really worried about it. It is what it is right now. Our guys are trying to get ready for Florida, and we're going to prepare to play Florida.
Kirby, Jaden Ball, freshman running back for Florida, had a really impressive game against Kentucky. What did you sort of see from him in that game and what he brings to the table? Yeah,
I've known Jaden a long time. He's a tremendous talent, a great athlete. Saw him his 9th grade year here in our 7-on-7 camp, and what a great athlete he was then. He was playing safety and knew he would grow into something. He was a big kid then, but he's gotten so much better. He's explosive, he's twitchy, hard to tackle. Runs physical. He had a great year, but he had a great game against Kentucky with the opportunities he got.
Coach, obviously Carson going back home again as last time down there. I find myself answering a lot that people say, "What's wrong with Carson back?" How do you answer that question going into this week, if anything?
Yeah, I don't answer it because I don't think anything's wrong with him. He hasn't played perfect, but nobody does. So I'm very comfortable with where Carson is, and in terms of his leadership, his practice habits, the things we're asking him to do, I think he's doing a good job of those.
I was going to ask about Carson also. He had said after the Texas game that he has to play better. What areas do you guys want to see improvement from him?
Well, I think he's going to own that regardless. If you ask a kid that, they're going to say that. He does need to play better. We need to coach better. We need to execute better. We need the people around him to play better. But that's the ownership that a quarterback takes, and I wouldn't expect him to answer any questions like that any other way.
Coach, looking at Florida, you said they're playing their best ball right now. Where have you seen their biggest growth since early in the season?
Well, I think they're executing at a higher level. They're making explosives, which those number one indicators to win and loss. Turning it over a little less. They've been, they played a really clean game against Tennessee at Tennessee, which we all know is a really hard place to play, and they've got more and more guys. Some of their portal guys have stepped up and made more plays. So, very impressed with how they're playing playing more confidence to me on defense and really flying around.
Yeah, Kirby, this senior class could be the first group since the 80s to go 4-0 against Florida with a win on Saturday. Just as a guy who's familiar with this rivalry, what is the significance of that? And do you think that's a, I guess, extra motivating factor for those guys going into Saturday?
No, I think it has no bearing on Saturday. I mean, each season is independent of the previous. We don't get caught up in things like that. We're trying to earn it each day.
Kirby, what was the rivalry in the Smart household growing up, and did that change for you as a player and as a head coach?
I don't understand what you mean. The rivalry in the Smart household, the one I grew up in or the one I'm in now?
And when you grew up in, your dad, was he?
Yeah, it was Bainbridge Cairo. There was no, I didn't know anything about college games. I didn't know they existed. Not until I was about a 10th grader did I worry about college. You know, I was worried about making sure we had food on the table. We won the games we were supposed to win at the high school level.
And then now that you're here, in terms of all the great rivalries you have, where does this one kind of stack up?
They're all dead even. They're all at the very top.
Coach, of course, a big story, this one was a big story, but Trevor's going back to face his former team. What has historically kind of been your message to guys that you coach when going against their former team? How do you want them to kind of keep their head in games like this?
Yeah, focus on the task. It's not a chance. You don't want to get caught up in emotions and be emotional. I don't think that helps any. You know, Dom's gone through it with Missouri a couple times, and you know, different players. That's the best part of college football now. You know, it's we've had kids go down there, so we don't get caught up in it much. I mean, at the end of the day, what's going to make you play well? It ain't worrying about that.
How close is Tay Riddick to being able to play for you guys this week?
We're hopeful. I mean, we think he's going to be able to give us something. He worked some last week, took some reps, did rehab over the weekend. You know, hopefully he's raring to go. I mean, I know he wants to play in this game. It's really important to him.
Yeah, with Trevor, what has sort of allowed him to make sort of the transition where he's able to help you guys and play such a key role for you guys on offense right away in his first season after transferring in?
Well, he's talented, you know, he's intelligent. He's a level-headed kid. He's a good leader. He's a great kid. So, I mean, I think those qualities help anybody play, but he's older than a freshman. He came into a system that's, you know, not that far off from the one he was in terms of offense. It may be different words, but not the same plays. So I think he transitioned well.
Kirby, the data shows that there's been a lot more close games in conference play this year than past years. Is there anything that jumps out to you as reason why? Is it an NIL portal effect? You know, our defense is getting better at stopping offenses, or what?
Yeah, I don't have a great explanation for that. I think there's more talent in our league than ever before in terms of accumulation of talent, whether it's from lower divisions, other teams. I mean, every team we play, they give me a sheet of the portals, and it seems to be more and more players from other conferences or even our conference that left and went to the you know, a team within our conference that we play, and the teams are better. It's just, and I don't know the teams have as much depth. I know we don't have as much depth as we've had in the past, so that depth is shared out, which may create some more parity there. I don't know the exact reason for it. There is definitely not a large margin of separation top to bottom in our league, or at least it's ever been since I've been in it.
Kirby, what do you feel like you guys got accomplished during this bye week?
Yeah, I think we got to look at ourselves. I think we got a lot of work for our younger players. I think we did a lot of targeted drill work, targeted things that we needed to work on specifically, offensively and defensively, situational football that we really had got to do in the past couple of weeks because it's been so fast.
Coach, you had Coach Rick in here a few weeks ago. You were at his event last week. How would you describe your relationship, how it's grown over these past few years?
Yeah, I initially got to know Coach Rick when he hired me, and worked a year on his staff, and I've known him for a long time. He and Catherine and their family, and son John, who is a quarterback coach and does a great job over at Prince. So they have a tremendous family. He's a tremendous man. The support he's shown for this community and what he's done for so many others. I mean, there's so many lettermen that come back that played for him that it's important that we embrace them, because I'm a letterman. I've come back here for years, and I want those guys that played for him to feel comfortable they can come back home, and him being here helps that.
Coach, can you give us your thoughts on the development of Sam Pemba, Damon Wilson, and Gabe Harris? They came in with a lot of fanfare. We're starting to see their names called more and more. Can you give us your thoughts?
Yeah, all three of those guys are they're similar in the fact they play the same position. They're different in their makeup and their kind of their strengths. Each one has gotten better. I think Jadero's done a great job developing those guys. We've seen Damon increase his role this year from last year, and he's continuing to get better. And Gabe has given us a solid guy in some positions that we've struggled in. We've had some injuries at the position that Gabe's been asked to play, and Sam's continuing to develop. He probably had the furthest to go from a standpoint of he'd been an offensive player some of his high school career and was really just starting to play more and more on defense. But I'm pleased with all three of those guys.
Coach, two right for you. One, you mentioned Mississippi State game warm-ups, I think, and you said before the pregame at the neutral site isn't quite the same as a home field. One, is there anything you change up or anything you can do to get a better pregame? And two, if you could address this Michael Williams and the impact and what he's allowed you to do with him back in the lineup more full strength.
Well, Michael's still not full. I mean, he wasn't last week in terms of full strength and all the way back. I want to be clear on that. I mean, I think people look at the output against Texas and think he didn't play a lot of snaps, and he didn't play probably the 100% role that he was playing against Clemson. We think he's going to be much better this week. We did a lot of rehab with him last week, but I don't know where he is. What does he allow us to do? He gives us depth. He makes everybody else better around him. He's certainly a hard player to block. He plays the run and pass well. So I'm happy to have him back. I just hope he is 100%. I don't understand the other question. You said something about Mississippi State.
When you mentioned the pregame, when you watch your players in the pregame, maybe it was Auburn, maybe I misspoke, but one of those pregames you weren't pleased with the intensity level, and you said before that in this stadium with the 50-50, you don't sense the same intensity in the warm-ups that you maybe get at a home game.
Yeah, it's different. It's a different vibe. It's no relation to home or away. It's just a different, it's a different vibe because it's a different fan base a little bit. I mean, it's not a home field for anybody. It's a more of an NFL type feel to it because a lot of people don't come in until kickoff. But that's just more about managing it. It's not a complaint. I mean, it's just a fact.
Kirby, you had a lot of national kind of spotlight games. Is it hard when you have a schedule like you do to keep your team peak performance week after week? When the schedule rolls around.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that we have peaked. I hope we haven't. I think you're constantly trying to get better, and that's our pursuit of the best version of ourselves. And we haven't reached that with this team. We haven't reached our best. We're trying to get better and ascend in every area and grow and create more depth. We've got opportunities to do that this week and weeks coming forward. But I'm not here to complain about the schedule.
Coach, we're going to talk to Arian Smith and Chaz Chambliss. Can you talk about guys who, there are times they weren't playing, but they developed, they stuck around. Can you talk about their journeys and their development? What you think of them?
Yeah, I think it makes them who they are. They both overcome a lot of adversity. In Arian's case, it's been injuries. He's had lots of injuries in his career. He's worked really hard to create a role for himself, whether it's special teams, playing wide out. He's just a hard worker. He comes to work every day and does it the right way. Chaz is the same way. He embodies this program. He's tough. He's physical. Guys will tell you around the team he's not afraid of contact. He seeks it. And he's led better this year than he ever has in terms of demanding excellence from the guys around him. And I don't think he was comfortable doing that prior to this year, but I've seen it come out more and more with him.
To follow up on Arian, he's y'all's leading receiver right now. Just what does he bring to this offense and then the element that he brings to it?
Well, I think he brings consistency in terms of he's been in the offense, he understands it. He has vertical speed. He's become a much better route runner in his last couple of years, and he's worked hard to develop at that and grow at that. And just really happy for him and pleased for him to keep working.
Time for one more question if anyone has one. Okay, Coach, thank you.